Hi, I'm Ingrid Wengert, and I'm the pastor at St. Matthew Lutheran Church in Moorestown. The church season of Lent is mostly known in our culture as a time to give up something that you really like, a time to suffer. But Lent is really far more meaningful and has a rich history in the Christian church. It developed during the weeks before Easter as the time for adults to prepare for baptism, which would culminate in a mass of baptisms at the Easter Eve Vigil service, which is the oldest Christian festival. When, later in history, adult baptisms became rarer, Lent offered all Christians the occasion to reorient themselves in their baptismal identity. For Lutherans, Lent is not a season of sacrifice at all. Rather, it's a gift of time that reorients us away from the myths of a death-denying culture and towards the life-giving God we know in His risen Son. It's a time of death and resurrection as God puts to death in us all that stands in the way of loving God and neighbor. And strengthened by the gifts of word and sacrament, and possibly the other traditional Lenten disciplines of fasting and prayer and works of love, we are reoriented by God so that love of neighbor and living in the moment are our natural responses. This is what really happens every Sunday as we gather together as believers, as a community. But in Lent, it's condensed and the imagery and readings are made super clear, kind of like a reduction sauce in cooking. Lent is also a time to accompany people around the world who are indeed preparing for baptism at Easter, which is still a tradition among Christians. Let me say it again. We don't draw closer to God during Lent. Rather, through the gifts that God gives us, God draws closer to us, reorienting us in our baptismal identity as a community. I invite you to participate in this gift, these 40 days of Lent. At St. Matthew, we begin Lent on Ash Wednesday with 2 communion services, where all who desire may come forward to receive ashes and be reminded that life really is fleeting and vulnerable. This Lent, we're also encouraging people to sign up to be a prayer partner, to meet briefly with another person to share concerns and joys and prayers with one another as the communion of saints. Lent culminates in Holy Week, where Christians experience the great 3 days, the center of our worship life as Christians. That is Maundy Thursday through Easter Sunday. Holy Week has cleverly been described as the liturgical way to experience a church revival. Come and be reminded that life is vulnerable. Come and be named by God as beloved. Come and be forgiven once again.